I'm going to reveal 3 questions that insurance company claim representatives don't want you to ask if you're a pedestrian hit by a car in Florida. Asking these questions increases your odds of winning a big and fast settlement. To reveal the first question that insurance adjusters don't want you to ask if a car hits you while you're a pedestrian, let's look at this true story. Steve was visiting from Europe and enjoying the vibrant streets of Miami, Florida, standing by his car in the scenic Coconut Grove. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a car barrels towards him and bam, he struck, suffering a broken leg. This wasn't just any break, it was so severe that paramedics had to rush him to the ER. It was serious enough to require an external fixator drilled right into his leg, something you'd think only happens in the movies. And if that wasn't enough, he then needed a rod and screws for stabilization. Imagine having metal parts as a permanent reminder of your vacation. He quickly hired me as his lawyer, but here's where the story gets interesting. After the dust settled, he decided to fight back for compensation. Who wouldn't, right? With the external fixator and later a rod and screws that might have felt to him like his leg was more metal and bone, highlighting the intensity of his treatments. Now, if you found yourself in his shoes, you'd want to know the best way to handle the insurance company, wouldn't you? So what's the first crucial question to ask the careless driver's insurance company that may increase your odds at getting a huge settlement? It's asking the adjuster, how much insurance does the at-fault driver have? In this real-life story, the driver at fault was driving a rental car. The rental car was insured for $100,000 in bodily injury liability coverage. It's called BI coverage and it pays for your medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering if you're hit while you're a pedestrian. But there's a catch. It only pays you if the driver is at fault. The fact that the driver had $100,000 of insurance was good, considering that so many drivers in Florida are uninsured. However, it wasn't enough to cover the huge value of Steve's case. After a battle, I finally persuaded the rental car insurance company to pay us the $100,000 insurance limits. But we still had a big problem. In exchange for them paying us the $100,000 insurance limits, they wanted Steve to sign a form called a settlement release. Basically, the claim rep wanted to pay the claim and get rid of it. There's a massive issue with Steve signing the release. If he signed it, he'd potentially lose his ability to make a claim against other responsible parties for the crash. And you'll see why he could lose out on huge compensation if he signed the release. Then I asked the second question that insurance adjusters don't want you to ask if you're a pedestrian hit by a car. Asking this question may help you discover an enormous amount of insurance coverage that may pay your claim. I asked, was the driver working at the time of the crash? And guess what? The rental car claim adjuster told me that the driver was working for the United States government at the time of the crash. This meant that they had the ability to pay any claim, no matter how large. So we didn't settle with the rental car's insurance. We also went after the driver's employer, the United States. God bless America. I sued them in federal court. The next question is often the most powerful question that may increase your odds at winning a sizable settlement. Now, this question is a bit different because you need to ask it to your own insurance company. Yes, you need to ask this, even though as a pedestrian, you obviously weren't in a car when you were hit. The proven question is, do I have uninsured motorist insurance in my case? And fortunately, that came with $100,000 in underinsured motorist insurance coverage. This is called UIM coverage. It pays you if a careless driver hits you and you're injured and they don't have enough insurance. So did we settle and for how much? I'll expose the sizable settlement that we got in just a moment. But first, I need to make clear that I was able to get the settlement for one simple reason. I know how pedestrian accident claims work. The good news is that anybody can quickly learn how pedestrian accident claims work. But first, let's get back to this case. After a hard fight, I got the careless driver's rental car insurance company to pay us $100,000. But that's not it. During our lawsuit against the United States, I pushed them to pay us $125,000. And remember our underinsured motorist claim against Steve's auto insurer? They didn't want to cough up the $100,000 in UIM coverage. They fought hard. but I convinced them to pay the $100,000 limit. That brought the total settlement to a whopping $325,000, and Steve was thrilled. The questions that I gave you will help you with your case, but they're not enough to get you the gigantic settlement that you want. You still need to know how pedestrian accident claims really work. I reveal this in the video that's on screen now, or click on the link in the description below. And if a car, truck, or other vehicle hits you while you're a pedestrian in Florida, click the link in the description below to see if I could be the lawyer for you.